What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. The patch 5.7 notes are out and overall the patch looks to be pretty solid. There weren't that many changes and a couple were hit or miss, but for the most part I'm pretty satisfied with this patch. So as always I'm here to give you my rundown and analysis of all major changes. Let's get started. Starting with the champion changes. First off, Bard received a buff to his base stats, passive, and Q damage. Overall, the buff to his Q is mostly insignificant since they really only buff the ratio, and you won't be building AP on him anyways. But the buff to the passive is quite nice, and in combo with the buff to his base attack damage and armor, it's actually pretty significant to his laning power. His auto attack harass should be reasonably improved, and so overall his laning phase is better. I still don't think it's enough for him to be played at the competitive level though, since he does suffer in a lot of areas and has quite a few major problems, but I could be wrong, so we'll see. Blitzcrank's W now provides a much larger movement speed boost on cast that decays over time, but then it slows him by 30% when his W runs out. Now, at first I actually thought this was a really cool change, but then I realized that this is actually a really big nerf. And the reason for this is adding an element to a kit that punishes itself is honestly a really disappointing change. Like, the fact that the W is on cooldown should be enough punishment for him wasting his W. But this extra slow is really significant and it makes Blitzcrank a lot more vulnerable. Sure, it might be easier to go for those crazy flashy plays, but in the long haul it makes his kit a lot easier to punish, since if he ever wastes his W at any point, and you reasonably will multiple times throughout every single game, you can just go for him and punish him really hard because it slows himself now. Darius's ultimate now refunds mana on kill, and at rank 3 refunds the cooldown completely. This change is actually really awesome, since with the buffs in previous patches, I think this is actually enough for him to be played at the competitive level. His current major problem of mana costs is really the only thing holding him back, and so with this, he should be good to go and becomes quite a bit stronger overall. Evelyn's Q also had its base damages increased by actually a reasonably high amount. We can definitely expect her to start making a comeback, however, she does somewhat have trouble fitting team compositions and finding good item builds to take. But I'm sure someone will find a way to make it work, since overall this buff helps her clear speed, especially early on, by a really nice amount. So I actually think it's enough for Evelyn to start being played again. Whether or not we'll see her in competitive, time will tell. But for now, I think in solo queue, she's definitely once again a pretty powerful pick. Fizz also had a shift in damage on his W. It's now more about the passive damage over time rather than the active damage. Now, this is a nerf to AD Fizz, but a buff to AP Fizz. So although I still think AD Fizz will definitely still be good, consider trying out AP Fizz once again. Garen and Shen also had the cooldowns on their ultimates reduced by a pretty reasonable amount. Long ultimate cooldowns were a big problem for them, so this buff was definitely something they needed, and is potentially enough for them to be competitive in the right team composition too. And lastly, Nidalee had her base health and health per level reduced. This actually makes her quite a bit less tanky, and so is reasonably significant. Now she has a much clearer weakness that can be punished in the game, and so it's a great change to tame the beast of the jungle. And moving on to the item changes, Cinderhulk now gives 50 less health and costs 40 more gold, so a reasonably big nerf to the item. Although it was kind of overpowered, so it is definitely deserved, I am a little sad with this change since it is a nerf to tank junglers. The less viable tank junglers who weren't as popular take a really big hit from this change, while the more popular tank junglers simply just receive a little bit of a balance tweak. I'm not really sure if this was the best way to nerf the powerful tank junglers at the moment, but a nerf to their early to mid game in general should help make them a little bit more vulnerable, since they won't get as tanky so quickly now. And the Gromp's Smite buff now scales with only 5% bonus health rather than 10%. Similar to the Ciderhulk changes, it's a nerf to tank junglers, however this change is a lot less significant, since it would usually take a reasonable amount of time to get a lot of bonus health to where it actually mattered anyways, to where by the time that you got enough bonus health, the extra damage from the Gromp buff didn't actually matter. And that actually wraps it up. It was a pretty short patch. Any change that I didn't cover in this video was considered to be minor and insignificant. My name is Jeremy, and that's it for my video on patch 5.7. Hey guys, it's me, Jeremy. Thanks for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, definitely make sure to hit that like button so I can tell, and if you're interested, definitely check me out on all the socials, of which you can see over there. And if you really enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe for some more awesome content in the future, as well as you can check out some of my other videos up here and over there. Anyways, that's going to be it. Thank you so much for watching, and of course, I'll see you guys next time.